Wes the Sports Guy here on YouTube and online all the time at westhesportsguy.com. Bookmark that site if you want to get weekly reviews in the NFL, MLB offseason, hot stove previews. All of it is there located for you at westhesportsguy.com. I'm on Parler. I'm on BitChute. In the very near future, I'm uploading some episodes as we speak, but I will be fully on BitChute as well as here on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that bell, all that good stuff there at BitChute and also on YouTube. All the links are located for you conveniently at westhesportsguy.com. Getting right into it, just a couple of big news stories this week in sports. We have a couple mainly in Major League Baseball and then one in the NFL, and then I'll get to my matchup of the week here on this week's episode. But we'll start into Major League Baseball with the first major hiring, you could say, of a woman in a position of a general manager in Major League Baseball. The Miami Marlins announced the hiring of now their new general manager, Kim Ng, to be the next general manager for this franchise going into the, pretty bright future, you could say, because they just got off of making it to the postseason, eliminating the Chicago Cubs in the wild card series. But I'm going to take this from a different angle. I'm going to take this practically just from the sports angle, because you're seeing a lot of the talking heads in the industry basically voicing their opinion about the move, not so much about from the baseball aspect of it, but there are some baseball talking heads talking about how this could affect the baseball realm for her years of experience. And she's been in Major League Baseball in and out of it for over 30 years. She has a great resume. It's a good track record. She's worked for 3 organizations as high up as the assistant general manager in 2 of them, and 2 of the more prominent ones in baseball history, the Dodgers and the Yankees. So she has the track record. She's paid her dues. She, I think, deserves a shot. Woman or not, minority or not, she deserves a shot. She's getting her shot now with the Miami Marlins. So I would say congratulations on the opportunity. Let's see what happens, because this is where I'm coming down on it. I'm not going after those of the opinion that this is such a great moment for women in sports and all that other stuff. You're entitled to your opinion. My opinion is, if she's qualified, she deserves a shot. Hey, she got a shot. She's going to get it. Let's see what she does with it. Now, what I will have a problem with going forward, and you know this is going to happen, let's just say hypothetically, it does not pan out. She does not do a good job in the position as general manager of the Miami Marlins. Then she is fired, dismissed, resigns, whatever the case may be. But she no longer has that position, let's just say in the totality of it, 3-4 seasons, just hypothetically. What's the reaction going to be from this point on with those same people that were touting the move? Then she gets let go, and the Marlins are worse off than they were under her, hypothetically. What's the reaction going to be at that time? Well, I don't have to tell you. You already can put 2 and 2 together and figure out what's going to happen in those scenarios. Some people will say that. But I look at this as a great opportunity to say to all those that are clamoring for this, to hold your horses. You do not need to get on the high horse of this is all that matters is based off of somebody's appearance, somebody's gender, somebody's skin color, whatever the case may be. That's not the point of bringing in somebody like Kim Ng. She is well qualified for this position. I'm glad she's getting an opportunity. Let's see what she can do with it. If it turns out for the better for the Marlins, that's good for their fan base. That's good for their organization as a whole to have a bit of competition in the NL East now, because it looks like you only have 1 or 2 teams that are at the top, and there's everybody else. But if you get the Marlins involved in that, good for her, good for the organization. I think it's a smart move. I think it's a great move from a baseball perspective. She's paid her dues. Like I said, her resume more than speaks for itself. That's where I stand on it. Fantastic. It's a good hire. I look forward to seeing her be successful. If she's not successful this go-around, she certainly could get another opportunity in the not-too-distant future. But that's where I stand on that. Going in it with the NFL. Again, this move by the NFL, and I'll read the quote from you from NFL.com this week, they decided that the NFL owners were going to pass a resolution rewarding teams for developing minority coaches and execs. Quoting a story, NFL owners approved a proposal that will reward teams for developing minority coaches and front office executives who go on to become head coaches and general managers for other organizations. The measure is subject to the NFL Players Association approval as well, but this has so far been approved by the owners. Teams that lose a minority coach or executive to a head coach or general manager job with another team, they will receive a third-round compensatory pick for 2 consecutive years. If a team loses a minority coach and an executive to a head coach and GM roles, that club will receive a third-round compensatory pick for 3 consecutive years. According to the resolution, a team is eligible to receive draft pick compensation if the candidate in question has been, quote, employed by the employer club for a minimum of 2 years. There can be no break in employment between teams. NFL Executive VP of Football Operations Troy Vincent said this resolution complements the overall collection of things we're doing to try to increase mobility among, in particular, black coaches and females as well. So with that, I have, again, you hire somebody that's qualified. I'm going off of the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as well. He was many things in life. But the one thing that stood out to me, obviously, from his I Have a Dream speech, but the biggest thing of all that everybody's pointed to, since my understanding of that whole civil rights movement in that day and time, Martin Luther King said, I have a dream that one day my children will be in a world where you will not be judged by the color of your skin, but rather the content of your character. Are we doing that in a lot of society right now? Are we judging somebody based off of the content of their character rather than their appearance, their skin color? Are we doing that? This policy by the NFL, with good intentions that I understand where it's coming from, this isn't going to help. And I'll give the example. Offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs right now, Eric Bieniemy. He was a former NFL player. He's been a very good offensive coordinator now with the Chiefs. They won a Super Bowl last year. That offense is clicking. Ever since Patrick Mahomes was entrenched now as the future Hall of Fame, most likely in the future quarterback with that team, Eric Bieniemy is most likely going to get to be a head coach this offseason. What is going to happen now when he does become a head coach going into next season? The Kansas City Chiefs are now going to get a compensatory third-round pick for losing their offensive coordinator to be a head coach. Does that seem fair that the Kansas City Chiefs will get a free third-round pick for losing a coordinator, qualified as he will be, but based off of the color of his skin, they're going to get a third-round pick based on this policy? He is qualified. 100%. But this policy is saying that because of the color of his skin and him getting hired in another position that's higher up than what he currently is, and the same thing could be said for an executive because that's what it's doing here with this policy, you're now going to reward a team a free third-round pick for 2 consecutive years because they lost a qualified coach to become a head coach elsewhere. Rather than just basing it on the merits of his actions and his work ethic in his current position, you're also going to say, hey, by the way, since you lost this guy, we'll give you a free third-round pick on top of it. How does this help? It's an honest question. I don't know how this is going to help. Because if you're a rival team, let's just throw out a team, for example, the LA Chargers. They might be looking for a head coach in the offseason. Certainly Eric Bieniemy is qualified to run that operation for the Chargers. But when you're looking at it from their perspective, do you want to hire Eric Bieniemy knowing that you're going to lose your third-round pick, but you're going to give your division rival a third-round pick? Teams are going to have those conversations. It's going to happen. So don't come at me and say I'm wrong for thinking this. Teams are already thinking about this. And that's wrong to think that way. But the NFL is putting this policy in thinking it will help when it could be a detriment for the guy's overall track record. Just think about that. Big picture altogether. I want to see more guys hired off the content of their character, their work ethic, all that stuff. Absolutely. It needs to be at the forefront. But you don't need to include something else into it just to get the qualifications going and get everything rolling to make sure more of them are hired. I don't see the good in that. You have a differing opinion? You like the opinion I'm giving, or you want to have a brief discussion about it? Leave a comment, leave a like, leave a dislike too. I'll accept it all. Make sure you do that below. Subscribe and hit that bell to get notified when all the videos are posted on this channel. Time for my NFL Game of the Week.
You play to win the game. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook. Cannot play with them. Cannot win with them. Cannot coach with them. Can't do it.
We're going to be going into the desert this week with the Buffalo Bills, normally in the cold weather, and it was kind of a slosh, well, it wasn't sloshy last week against the Seattle Seahawks when they destroyed them at home, but it was rather surprisingly sunny day last week with the Bills and the Seahawks going at it. But no, they're going to be going to the desert to play the Arizona Cardinals, and the quarterback matchup that I touted in my weekly review at westofsportsguy.com was between Tua Tagovailoa of the Miami Dolphins and Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals. Now you've got another good quarterback matchup, up-and-comers, with Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, and, as I said, Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals. Both teams' defenses have the potential to be good. Arizona's not so much because they're also missing their premier pass rusher in Chandler Jones out for the entire season with an injury. Buffalo Bills have a much better defense overall, especially with their head coach's pedigree and Sean McDermott. Arizona, the offensive guru of Cliff Kingsbury, has everything clicking right now with Murray. You got DeAndre Hopkins at your receiver, Larry Fitzgerald, the future Hall of Famers there as well. Christian Kirk has been lighting up the last couple games for the Cardinals on offense. But this is a matchup where I see one defense is going to outflank or outdo the other one. And whether or not if it's going to be Buffalo's or Arizona's, that's what it's going to come down to, is the defense. Which defense is going to perform up to task, slow down the offense, shut a particular part of it down. Buffalo used to be a run-first offense for the first 2 years of Josh Allen's career there, but now it's become a pass-oriented offense. Why wouldn't it be with Stephon Diggs as your number one receiver? But going into it, the Buffalo Bills don't run the ball very much. That could be an Achilles heel for them as they get bogged down into just passing the ball more often, bogging down their defense, making them tired. Same thing can happen with Arizona. Kyler Murray can move the chains no matter what if he rushes or throws the football, but he's a dual-threat quarterback, kind of like what Josh Allen is as well. Not so much this year, but he can be. But it's another great quarterback matchup. We saw it last week with Tua and Kyler in the desert, and now we're going to see it again this week with Josh Allen and Kyler Murray again in Arizona. But this is a great matchup to watch. Also, you got two teams vying for playoff spots. Buffalo's at the top of their division. They're trying to stay ahead of Miami, which is starting to catch up to them. Arizona trying to stay in the thick of things with Seattle and the Rams playing each other this weekend. That's an opportunity for Arizona to maybe sneak in for a tiebreak or still be entrenched in the number 2 spot in the NFC West. But this is the matchup to watch here for Week 10 of the NFL. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell below to get notified when all the videos are posted on this channel. Also at BitChute, you can go there, subscribe, hit that bell. Same basic functions as it is on YouTube, but I am there as well. Go to westofsportsguy.com for all the social media links with Parler, Twitter, Facebook. All the good stuff is there for you at westofsportsguy.com. Use that hashtag #OneOnOneWest when participating in the weekly conversations in sports on social media, and I will see you next time.